Jacob led me to one of the rooms, and I laid on the bed. He stuck a needle in my arm to inject something, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, I was still in the room, but the lights were off, and the alarm was going off. That was the perimeter breach alarm, so either something got in, or something escaped. I got out of my bed, opened the door, and peered into the dark hallway. The alarm light flashed slowly, casting a warm red glow. I walked through the hallway, trying to open doors to patient rooms, but all of them were locked. I saw the staff-only door. I was able to turn the knob and walk inside. I saw a dark room, illuminated by a group of holovision screens and a black chair. The screens were just displaying static. I touched one of them, and it displayed the buttons to play the security camera footage recorded throughout the day. I pressed the rewind button and waited countless minutes to reach the time that I fell asleep. I wondered how long I was asleep. The video was rewinding fast, but I noticed that the scientists were scared about something, because they were running out of the labs. I finally reached the moment where I fell asleep, and fast-forwarded some. I watched my brother stick me with the needle, and also saw him crying through it. He slipped a bottle of the drug in my trouser pocket when he was done.
Wherever you go, please be safe. I love you.
He kissed my forehead, then walked out of the room. It was all still and silent for 20 minutes or so, until I heard screaming from one of the other screens.
Perimeter breach, perimeter breach. You know what this means, people. Destroy any and all evidence now. This is not a drill. Repeat, destroy any and all evidence now.
I saw different screens of scientists breaking glass and throwing various materials on the ground. A minute later, I saw soldiers rushing through the hallway and shooting the scientists. I wanted to cry because I knew my brother was in danger and could have died. But then, I saw on one screen my brother escaping through the ventilation shaft. The soldiers dragged the dead bodies away and cleaned up any sign of blood. I never saw a dead body before. It was a miserable sight. I couldn't stop shaking or crying. It was scary. They turned off all of the lights and broke all the cameras until there was no video footage left to see. My brother was still alive, and I had to go find him. I was crying for a good long time. I found my way to the exit and walked outside. I saw dead bodies everywhere and smoke in the air. I also saw smashed up cars in the streets and nothing but the sound of the wind. I feared the worst. I only wondered what could have happened while I was asleep, and how long I was asleep even. I walked through the lonely streets to find my way home. After a few hours of walking, I eventually got home and turned on my holovision. I flipped to the news channel and saw an evacuation warning. I hit the rewind button to see what it was all about. I pressed play when I saw the breaking news graphic. I saw a reporter downtown telling the story of what was happening. Behind her were police officers with riot shields, holding back a crowd of angry people.
This is Tina Brown reporting live live from downtown Chicago. Behind me are police officers trying to control the wild crowd of people lashing out at each other. It has been reported that Iris, known as the lucid dreaming drug, has been showing new side effects as said by the scientists at Root Research Labs. It seems that as the drug ages over time, it loses its stability when injected into the bloodstream. This causes patients to become enraged, delusional, unresponsive to anything, and there have even been reports of patients sleepwalking, waking up in places that they aren't familiar with. The strangest side effect of all is that this is turning their irises dark red. Scientists say that they studied the possible side effects of the drug consistently and did not predict these unfortunate effects. People are saying that this has become an outrage, and there are countless people making claims against Root Research Labs, suing them for...
The people broke through the wall of police officers and charged towards her and the cameraman. The feed cut off. A picture of the city displayed on the screen, with scrolling evacuation instructions. Tears filled my eyes as I took in what I just saw. I was shocked and worried about Jacob. At this point, I began to understand why the police didn't take any chances, and of course they would cover up what really happened. Also, I wasn't even sure if my brother was alive at that point. I also realized that my parents were probably out there somewhere too. I was overwhelmed with racing thoughts of the worst-case scenario. I couldn't run away, so I injected myself with the drug, so I could finally feel some relief from this living nightmare. I began to see the same city, but with less destruction, like it was earlier. I looked to the streets and saw the same chaos that I saw on the news. People were fighting and killing each other, smashing cars, breaking into buildings and running through the streets. I took a closer look at them and saw their red, glowing eyes for myself. I noticed their skin was turning very pale. I was in plain sight, but it's as if I wasn't there. They couldn't see me. I walked to Daniel's house, and I saw a group of kids trying to tear down the front door with baseball bats. I looked through the sliding glass door leading outside and saw him cringing in fear. I ran up to the door and tried to get his attention, but I was invisible to him. Suddenly, he reached into his pocket and took out a necklace with a diamond-shaped silver rim encasing a green emerald connected to a silver chain, and laid it on the living room table. He ran as fast as he could, but the kids broke into the house and caught up to him. I looked away, crying, knowing that what I was seeing were the events of what happened while I was asleep. He died in my sleep. I was devastated. I wasn't able to approach him naturally. Moments later, I went inside to see the necklace he laid on the table. It was beautiful. On the back side of the locket, it said, "To Rose." I started crying again, harder than ever this time, realizing it was for me. After a while, I left the house and headed towards the research labs. When I arrived at the street, I saw it a few buildings down. I saw Jacob running out from the alley next to it and run behind me. I ran after him for a few blocks until I got too tired to keep up. All of a sudden, I saw everything speed up. I then appeared where Jacob was running to. He ran home. I was in the living room and I saw him packing his stuff in a rubbish bag. He was packing clothes and some food, then rushed to the car. I got in the passenger seat. He rushed out of the driveway and sped down the street. I wasn't sure where we were heading, but time flashed forward. We ended up at a hotel 5 miles away. We climbed the stairs outside after checking in and went inside. Suddenly, I awoke as the effects of the drug wore off. I woke up in Daniel's apartment. Out of curiosity, I checked the same living room table to see if the necklace was still there, and sure enough, it was. I grabbed it and put it on around my neck as I took the car in the driveway. I was lucky the keys were still inside. I drove to the motel where Jacob was staying, hoping he was still there.